If Paris Johnson Jr. is out for the year, the Arizona Cardinals have absolutely no shot to defeat the Houston Texans on Sunday. Plus, Albert Breer says there's a chance Jonathan Gannon's job really isn't safe, and it shouldn't be. And the Suns play their biggest game in years tonight. Let's talk about that much more in this edition of the Ben Garcia Show.
The Ben Garcia Show. Yeah. Woo. Best show in the land. Yup. Listen. Come and get your information from Ben Garcia. Get the latest on your quarterback, running backs, and receivers. Tune in, so any other show you don't need them. Any news that he giving out, please just believe him. Giving out the latest prediction and top-notch analysis. Wanna hear the truth, better have thick skin like calluses. The latest move that your team just made can be damaging. The dudes ain't speaking no facts, they just be rambling. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. Yeah. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. The Ben Garcia Show.
What is up, and welcome into yet another edition of the Ben Garcia Show. Appreciate you guys being here, wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening. Don't forget to hit that like, share, subscribe button, and whether it's on YouTube or any other place. Appreciate you guys being here on the Ben Garcia Show. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. We got a decent amount of things to get into. The Suns play their biggest game of the year tonight. I'm going to talk about why I think they're going to win that game. I know that's crazy. I know that's a little insane, but I'll explain it why in about 15 minutes. Plus, Paris Johnson Jr. might be out for the year, and Jonathan Gannon is apparently on the hot seat, and he should be. Let's start there. So, we got some word yesterday that from Albert Breer that Jonathan Gannon's job might not actually be safe. And what we've heard, so here's what, let me be honest with you guys. There are other reporters I trust more than others. And I've always been a little skeptical about Benjamin Albright's reporting. I think with other teams, it's definitely a little bit more concrete. With the Arizona Cardinals, I feel like it's a little vague sometimes and not necessarily always true. And so I was having a hard time believing him coming out every couple of days and saying Jonathan Gannon is going to get a second chance. Jonathan Gannon is going to run it back. Part of the reason why I thought that Jonathan Gannon was going to get his job back and was going to be able to run it back with the Cardinals next year is a few different things. One, I don't think Michael Bidwell is going to pay 3 head coaches at one time. He'd be paying Cliff, he'd be paying Jonathan Gannon, and he'd be paying Mr. Outside Hire. I don't think he wants to do that. 2, there are some reasons why the Cardinals have been terrible this year. And as much as people don't like it, I think it's pretty clear that the Cardinals have had some really bad and unfair injury luck. And so for those reasons, I think that he's probably going to stick around. Plus, I do, in last year in the NFLPA report card, the Arizona Cardinals head coaching grade got an A. So that means the players like him. That means they're buying into his messaging. That means they're buying what Jonathan Gannon is selling. I think he is a real leader. I think players really like him. And what we've seen over the past couple weeks is I think this team is still fighting for him. Now, do I think that they're doing that they played with elite level energy and animosity on Sunday? No, not necessarily. But at some point, you have to chop that up to the opposing team is just much better than you. And when you're down a multitude of players, it just makes life that much more difficult. So I didn't really lean into this idea of the Arizona Cardinals players weren't trying. They were giving up. I don't think that's the case. I just think that the players they had on the field weren't very good. I mean, we talked about this the other day, but the Cardinals are down multiple running backs. They're down multiple wide receivers. They're down a tight end. They're down players on the offensive line, on an offensive line that already wasn't good. So I buy into the idea. Again, I know so many of you just want to fire the coach. I can't just come out and say that that's the exact right thing to do. We have fired so many head coaches before. We have fired offensive coordinators. We have fired general managers. The only thing we haven't done in 7 years is got rid of the quarterback. And people will tell me, well, you have Jacoby Brissett here. The Cardinals' plan was not to start Jacoby Brissett all year. For me, it's find your next guy in the draft, as well as hopefully you can stay healthy. But here's the other thing. Here's what I wanted to get to. So Benjamin Albright's reporting, I've never been super sold on when it comes to the Cardinals. I think sometimes it can be a little spotty. Here's what Albert Breer of, I believe, Sports Illustrated on if Jonathan Gannon will get fired after this season. He said, quote, "I certainly don't think he's safe right now. I don't know what the owners are going to do, I don't know what the owner's going to do, but it does feel like that at some level change is coming. I think there's going to be significant change after this year." Interesting. How could there be significant change for the Arizona Cardinals that isn't head coaching change for it to actually matter? So my point is, how could there be change? How are you going to have change? Is it the quarterback? Is that the big change? It feels like to me now, per Albert Breer, that for the first time, Jonathan Gannon is on the hot seat. I just don't know how you talk about there's going to be significant change after this year that isn't the head coach. Like, what are you going to do? Get rid of the offensive coordinator? How much is that going to change? Well, you're going to get rid of the quarterback, but I don't know if that's significant change because we kind of already saw it coming. It feels like Jonathan Gannon is coaching for his job. I've laid out the list of candidates to you. It's not great, the list of candidates that are out there right now for the Arizona Cardinals to be losing their brain cells over. But you look at the potential candidates this year, per Diana Rossini of The Athletic. This came out on, I believe it was Sunday. And it's not a great list of candidates either. And this is what Diana Rossini had to say on Sunday. "Expect these names to garner interest in the upcoming coaching cycle." So you want to get rid of Jonathan Gannon, that's perfectly fine. But here are the guys that are leading the way to replace Jonathan Gannon. Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy. He was fired before, and he doesn't call plays. 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, just coming off of being fired. Broncos DC Vance Joseph. He's been fired a multitude of times. Dolphins defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver. I don't know why he's getting head coaching buzz, but I'll leave it at that. Packers DC Jeff Hafley. I actually don't mind this guy. And same with Rams DC Chris Shula. I just want to go in the offensive direction this time. So sure, you like those guys. I can't say that they're bad hires, but I wish they'd go in the offensive direction. And then, of course, Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady. And Joe Brady, we'll see how much of it is actually Josh Allen, because the last offensive coordinator to be brought in from the Bills got fired in Brian Daboll. Well, and I do think Clint Kubiak is interesting, but I can't act like that doesn't come with risks as well. Clint Kubiak has been fired before. Fired from the Texans job, fired from the Saints job as an OC. Brian Flores, he didn't get along with his owner. He's been fired before. Yeah, he's got a good defense, but players didn't really like him, it seemed like, and he got fired before. So there's no clear person to come in. My guy Michael Evans in the chat, Mike McCarthy. It's actually not a terrible hire, but it's also like, I think you could do better too. And Mike McCarthy has also been fired twice already. Once against the Cowboys, once against the Green Bay Packers. So my point is, there's not a great head coaching candidate out there. And if there was, would they choose your job? So like it's a very slippery slope. But if Albert Breer is correct and Jonathan Gannon is finally fighting for his job, how does he save his job? And you look at the Arizona Cardinals schedule for the rest of the season, guys. I don't know if there's a win on there. I said this weeks ago, I didn't think there was a win on there. Now you look at it, and is there really no wins on there left? So here's what we got. You got the Houston Texans at NRG Stadium this weekend with likely no Paris Johnson Jr. That is such a big fat L, it's not even funny. Then you got the Atlanta Falcons at home. They might win that game, but damn, are you going to be rooting for them to lose that game? Because if the Falcons somehow out-tank you, remember, that pick goes to the Rams. You've got to be selecting before the Rams in this draft. And then you've got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams. Both teams who are probably going to stuff you in a locker and eat your lunch. You can't guard Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, clearly. And Joe Burrow is just going to pick this team apart. And it's on the road. So, all eyes on that Falcons game. But what if the Cardinals go 2-2? Is that good enough to bring back Gannon? I don't know, man. I think it's such a slippery slope to say. Like, my thing is, okay, I've made it very clear. I'm not defending JG. I'm not begging for the services of Jonathan Gannon. I just don't know how you can look at this last stretch of games and say, well, if he goes 2-2, then you bring him back next year. It's like, that's the sample size you're going to use when the Cardinals season is already over? I think if Jonathan Gannon goes 2-2, he's safe. That is not my opinion. That is what I think is going to happen. That's not what I would do. I'm still in the era of probably just keep JG around because I just don't see anything better. And I do think I want to see him with a full stack deck next season. But again, that comes with some worries on my part because I don't want them selecting a quarterback in this upcoming draft just because they're doing it out of desperation. But it's just interesting, man. Albert Breer's reporting on that makes me think that maybe we're closer to a change. Maybe we're closer to a change than I thought we once were. I didn't think he was going to get fired, but according to Albert Breer, it sounds like he might. Here's the other thing, Cardinals news related. Paris Johnson Jr., the guy in your lower third here, he's got a sprained MCL. He's probably out for the year. There's no, they said 1 to 2 weeks he's out. Why in the world would you bring back your franchise left tackle? Not 100% against the Bengals and the Rams. What is the point in that? What is the point? So it's not official, but if I was guesstimating, Paris Johnson Jr. is out for the year. He's out for the year. What are you doing bringing him back? Like, at that point, it would just be malpractice of a player to rush him back from an MCL injury. And that brings me up to this week. You've got the Houston Texans pass rush coming into town. Forget anything else. Forget any other thing that they have. Nico Collins, CJ Stroud, Dalton Schultz, Woody Marks and Nick Chubb. Like, forget all of those. The story begins and ends with the Houston Texans pass rush on Sunday at NRG Stadium. There is no world where Paris Johnson Jr. plays in this game, and he is your only functional elite level player on that offensive line. I like Yoda Froholt. He's a center. Outside of those two, it's a steep drop off at the left guard, right tackle position. A win this weekend would just be for Jacoby Brissett not to snap a leg, because I don't trust this offensive line at all. Much less do I trust it against the Houston Texans pass rush. That is a tall task this weekend, and it kind of sucks where you've been going into every week and you're like, well, here's the ways they could win. There is absolutely no way they can beat the Houston Texans this weekend. Like, there is no game I've been more clear about they are losing. And it should already be put in the record books after we saw Paris Johnson Jr. go down with an MCL injury. You're not bringing him back. This offensive line's got no chance to block them. It's a game where, like, you don't even need to watch. You know exactly what's going to happen. I think the Texans, it's very, very possible they have 10 sacks this weekend. I think at minimum they have 6. They have 7. Because, listen, what's the point of playing Marvin Harrison Jr. in this game? If he's not 100%, you're not going to get the ball to him. Michael Wilson, dude, seriously, it's so bad. I might just feed Keldon Slovis to the Wolves. And let him start this weekend, make up an injury for Jacoby Brissett, and throw my second and third stringers out there so that no one gets seriously injured. But these are the types of games where players get seriously injured that you might need for next season because you don't have the proper protection around them. And the Texans, although I don't think are an elite level team, they've got an elite level defense led by an elite level head coach in D'Amico Ryans. And that's going to be tough to go against this weekend, guys. That's going to be a bloodbath. That's going to be a 30-20. It's going to be a 27-10 game written all over it. All over it. They've got no chance of moving the football, and that sucks, man. All right, let's move on to the Phoenix Suns. So let's do a thought exercise here. Is tonight the biggest game the Suns have played in years? I think this is the biggest game the Phoenix Suns have played since Game 3 of the 2023 NBA playoffs against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Because in that game, you were down 2-0, and the Minnesota Timberwolves kind of ate your lunch and kind of knew exactly what you would be running. And they pushed you around, and they beat you soundly in Games 1 and in Game 2. But in Game 3, you felt like, if you win that game, anything could happen in Game 4. You win Game 4, you're 2-2, brand new series. That might be the last big moment the Phoenix Suns have played in. And I think tonight dwarfs that. And why is that, Ben? Well, one, I got to be honest with you. I don't really care about the NBA Cup that much. I think it's kind of corny. I think it's kind of stupid. But I cannot deny the magnitude that players have been playing with during the NBA Cup. Because these players are ultimate competitors. When you put a tournament style around them, they are going to naturally raise their game. Even if it's a trophy that no one really cares about. Players want to hoist that trophy. It is in their DNA. And tonight is a really good chance for the Suns to steal a win from the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are on a 15-game winning streak, and advance to even a further playoff level competition against the whoever in Vegas. And if the Suns win this game, I do think it could be a real turning point in their season, where you go from saying, well, they're a good play-in team, to they're a good playoff team, to are they a piece away from really contending in the Western Conference? And it's why I actually, and I'll get to that. But this is the biggest game that they've played in years. And if they lose, there's no shame in losing to, without a doubt, the front runner for the NBA title and the best team in the NBA. There's no shame in that. That team is really good. But if they could find a way to squeeze out a W in this game, it could change everything. I mean, 2 years ago, when the NBA Cup first started, the team that represented the Eastern Conference in the NBA Cup was the Indiana Pacers. I can't help but think that little tournament run that the Indiana Pacers went on to play in the NBA Cup championship, battered and bruised, played a role in them becoming a finals team just 2 short years later. I do think it matters to play in high leverage situations that players can then play together in. Like, say what you want about the Cup, the coaches short their bench, and we're going to get an idea tonight of what the Suns' playoff level bench is going to look like. Jordan Ott is going to shorten this lineup. And in the playoffs, you play about 8-9 guys. That's what you're going to see tonight. I don't know who's not going to play, but you're going to see who's leading in this, in what would be the Suns' playoff roster. You're going to see who would be sitting, who would be playing. And here's the other thing. I think Devin Booker plays tonight. Devin Booker has always understood the moment. He has always understood the magnitude of some things. And from dating all the way back to his early years as a young pup in the NBA, he would show up for these moments. In year 2, in the Summer League, when we already knew he was a good player and he didn't have to play in the Summer League, he played in 2 Summer League games, the second one being a nationally televised game against the Los Angeles Lakers. And he played in that game because it was a chance to showcase his talent with the young talent the Suns have been providing to him, which wasn't that very good, but still, he understood the moment. And here's the other thing too, guys. I don't like when people try to act smarter than you on social media and say, well, I don't like this. I don't want Devin Booker to play tonight. How the hell would you know how bad his groin injury is? Like, yes, does he have a long history of soft tissue injuries? Yeah, but it's not punitive. Booker's soft tissue injuries happen once a year, and sometimes he misses a week, sometimes he misses a month. But if he's 90%, if he's 85% tonight, he should go. Because tonight matters. And I think I think Booker understands that. If they win this game, it will change everything about the expectations for the Phoenix Suns team this year. And don't let people on social media try to act like they know how severe Booker's injury is. I think if it was the playoffs, he'd already be playing. And because they called it, groin soreness last week, I don't think it was that bad. I think they saw the break in the action. They saw that Oklahoma City Thunder game, and they said, we want him to be ready for that game. There was no clear moment where Booker got hurt. So let's not act like we know Booker's injury, because we don't know it. We know the history, but we don't know his injury. And so I think Book plays tonight because he's always understood the moment. He's always understood the magnitude of big, bright moments for this team. And I think he knows if they win tonight, it changes everything in terms of expectations. They become the real darling of the NBA, and they're just the second team to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, here's this. How do the Suns beat the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight? Guys, I did a decent amount of research into this. You're not going to like my arguments because I don't have a lot of statistics to back it up. But and the reasoning for that is Oklahoma City's just really freaking good. They're good at a lot of different things. They shoot the 3-ball well. They're good in the paint. They rebound well. They got a high assist percentage. They're a good team. However, there are some things that you can control on your side. There's not many things that you can make Oklahoma City do. But one of the reasons why the Suns lost to Oklahoma City the last time they played was because the Suns had 20 turnovers in that game. And those turnovers went for easy points the other direction for the Oklahoma City Thunder. So the Suns only lost by 4 in that game. They had 20 turnovers and 29 points conceded off turnovers. Like, that can't happen. If you cut that in half, the Suns win this game and win it handily. Oklahoma City is already good enough without you giving them free points. So that's another thing, too, that if Devin Booker plays tonight, why it would really help them. Devin Booker is a methodical, patient basketball player. He is going to allow the game to come to him. The Suns do not want to get out in a track meet against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Other teams, they do. But there's a few teams that do a much better job playing with pace than the Phoenix Suns do. And that's the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's their bread and butter. They want to get out and run. They want to run the floor on you. They want to force turnovers. They want to get easy buckets to the basket because they are young, they are athletic, they are twitchy, they can make it happen. You cannot let that happen today. It's going to happen in spurts. You got to limit it. 1, limit the turnovers. 2, don't give up points off turnovers. If you're going to have a turnover, punt that you-know-what out of bounds. Make it be a side-out, set-your-defense turnover. Don't give up balls in passing lanes or missed lobs where the Thunder get out in numbers and get an easy bucket on you. That can't happen. Here's the other thing. Take care of the ball. Play a half-court styled game where you're methodically running your offense, draining the shot clock, and not giving the Thunder more possessions than they deserve. And here's the other thing. This game needs to be gross. It needs to be disgusting. We should not be talking about this game today, or we should not be talking about this game tomorrow and say, woof, what a pretty game of basketball. That was fun. Well, I want people to say tomorrow, oh, this was a hard watch. Holy cow. It was low scoring. There was a lot of foul calls. It was tenacious. They fought with each other. The Suns want to get into a bar fight. They do not want to get into a track meet. This has to be the game where Dylan Brooks has a technical foul because he's getting in the head of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This has to be the game where 3 guys foul out because you are making them earn it at the line. This has to be a game where the Suns have over 20-plus fouls. The last time they played the Oklahoma City Thunder, they had 24 fouls. The last team to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Portland Trailblazers, guess how many fouls they had? 24 fouls. The Suns followed the recipe. They just turned over the ball too much. Oklahoma City had 91 shots against the Trailblazers. They had 87 against the Suns. Limit their attempts at the rim. Rebound. Be all over the floor, diving for loose ball, getting the loose boards, and make this game gross. Push them around. Get a technical foul. 3 guys got to foul out. This is a perfect moment for the Dylan Brooks experience. And then I think we get Devin Booker back. I think we get Booker back tonight. I think the Suns play really hard. And I don't have a lot of reasoning for this, so I can't act like it's a big, bold take that no one else had outside of me, because anyone can say this. But I do think the Suns win tonight. I think there's something in the air. I've been right on this all year. I think that they win tonight, and I'm willing to put my perfect, correct record prediction on the line in these big games for this one, where I think a lot of people won't. I think the Suns understand the magnitude of this moment. I think Booker does. And I think they have the tools to go one game with Oklahoma City, make it really uncomfortable, make it really gross, make it really ugly to watch, and steal a win. Looking at some of your guys' questions really quickly, if you guys have any for me. It looks like I just got one here. How far off is Green Ben? Per my conversations, which is a loose way of saying talking to other media members, it looks like he hasn't been reevaluated yet. So it's 4 weeks since the injury. They said 4 to 6 weeks he'd be reevaluated. It really is starting to seem like you'll see him first or second week in January. which is fine. Suns are fine without him right now. So get healthy, do the right thing, and get the rehab, and I think we'll be fine. Steven, good to see you in the chat. My guy Fishy, I don't think I've ever seen you in the chat, but thank you for being here. Mike Evans, thank you for being here, even though you missed me. I left the Locked On Signs sun up for the Open, and you didn't see that, and you didn't say I needed to change it, so you're on probation for that, even though that is literally your job. It's okay. You're not in trouble. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. With that being said, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Guys, thank you so much for allowing me to do this every single day. Without you guys, there is no show. So with that being said, stay safe. Have a heck of a Wednesday. I'll talk to you guys soon.